And now it's time for us to discuss more of these headlines and simple keywords. Adam joining us via Zoom. Good morning, Adam.
Good morning, Lena, and happy start to the long Chuseok holiday.
That's really long. Happy Chuseok Eve.
That would have been a much simpler and easier way of saying it. I don't know why I complicated it.
Sometimes we have verbose mornings. I do it every day. All right. So one nice thing about arriving at work this morning was the empty parking lots and the empty streets.
I thought it would have been more congested because usually people, set out early in the morning to go to their hometown.
It was
But I think
too early. It was like 6:30.
Yeah. So our listeners can just imagine how early we can get up to, give you the latest and greatest.
Someone has to do the job. All right.
Yeah.
So Chuseok, the long weekend has officially commenced. This means that a lot of locals will be trying to get out of the city, trying to maybe fly abroad. Let's get a closer look at that very movement, our first keyword of the day.
Chuseok underway.
So the roads have started to get congested in different expressways, for example. Tens of millions of people heading to their hometown for an extended Chuseok holiday. Diane told me one of her friends is already at the Incheon International Airport, and it is awfully crowded. What's the latest?
Wow. Yeah, I think it's best if we looked from afar at those people in those kind of squads of people. I don't think I would want to be there myself, to be honest. But it's because it is extended this holiday, because there is a substitute holiday in between. It is expected that there will be nearly a 30% increase in travelers actually compared to last year. And of course, it's coming off the back of a pandemic as well, where travel has been a bit subdued. So, of course, these numbers are going to increase as the years go by as well, presumably. Now, the government predicts more than 40 million travellers will be on the move during the holiday period. Of course, major highways across the country are packed with vehicles heading to their hometowns. I think right about now is probably one of the peak times of the expressways, and they're definitely going to be backed up bumper to bumper. Now, the heaviest traffic congestion was actually observed around 7 p.m. Yesterday, with evening rush hour traffic joining the exodus. But of course, while the evening rush hour subsides, there's still going to be a lot of cars on the road. However, the situation has improved somewhat since then, but of course, it's going to get congested again. So it's kind of a repeat process. If we look at the kind of estimated times to the major cities across the country, it's estimated to take around 5 hours and 50 minutes, and nearly 6 hours to travel from Seoul to Busan. That's a journey that usually takes about 4.5 or 4 to 4.5 hours. It takes about 5.5 hours from Seoul to Gwangju as well, another popular destination. Travel times to Daegu and Daejeon, also other popular destinations or regular destinations for Chuseok, I should say, are expected to be approximately 5 hours and about 3 hours, respectively. Now, traffic volume was expected to increase again early this morning. We're seeing signs of that certainly right now. However, due to the dispersed nature of the traffic and because it is an extended holiday, the daily average traffic volume is actually expected to decrease about 9% compared to this time of year in previous years. That's because, of course, people may want to leave at different times. They might think that, the first Chuseok day are going to be too congested, so they might leave on a Saturday or something like that. But if everyone starts thinking the same thing, then of course everyone's going to start piling on the roads anyway, right? But there are some advantages to going down to people's hometowns. For example, tolls on all national highways are now waived for 4 days from today. However, they will still apply on October 2nd, which is that substitute holiday, and on National Foundation Day, the day after. For those traveling, it is advisable to check real-time highway traffic information using highway traffic apps. I think a lot of people will do that anyway. The government is also providing convenience for travelers, expanding public transportation and strengthening traffic safety. There's also going to be more stricter traffic tests or inspections as well. So for those who are driving, make sure you're driving within the law. And with more people on the road, there'll be also more temporary restrooms as well set up at highway rest areas for all the kids who need to just stop every 10 minutes, I
Oh,
guess.
that's
Understand.
on, all right, that's on the ground. But as we alluded to earlier, mass exodus to the skies has also begun. What's the latest on the situation at the airports?
Yeah, so it's expected that approximately just under 3 million passengers will pass through major airports such as Incheon and Gimpo. Incheon, for example, anticipates approximately 1.2 million passengers during the holiday period, with an estimated daily average of 180,000. Officials predict a total of 1.66 million passengers, including 1.33 on domestic flights and 330,000 on international ones at 14 airports across the country. That includes Gimpo and Kimé. The peak hours for passenger traffic vary at each airport, of course. For Incheon, the major gateway, the day with the busiest outbound passengers is actually expected to be today, while the day with the most inbound passengers is expected to be next Monday. Now, airports and airlines are entering emergency work mode. They're deploying additional personnel to enhance customer convenience. Airport shops will also be open for longer as well.
All right, with that, we move on to our second keyword of the day.
Medals galore.
So South Korea is off to a good start at the Asian Games, managed to bag 5 more gold medals on the fourth day of the competition. We trail behind China. What's the latest?
Yeah, so it's very hard to catch up with China. They're often a very dominant force when it comes to any sort of these Olympics and sports competitions. But of course, Korea is certainly doing quite well. It added 2 more gold medals to its already impressive fencing medal haul. Both won the men's foil team event and the women's epee team event. Now, Korea also extended their dominance in taekwondo as well, grabbing a gold medal for the 4th consecutive day. Park Hyuk defeated a competitor from Jordan 2-0 in the men's under 80 kilogram final to grab yet another gold. Swimming sensation Hwang Sonu managed to get his second gold medal of the competition. He set a new Korean record and a new tournament record as well by winning the men's 200-meter freestyle in 1 minute and 44.4 seconds. Chonu brought Korea its first gold medal in sailing, interestingly, winning the men's RSX windsurfing title. So first there is also very admirable as well. Elsewhere, South Korea advanced to the quarterfinals in the men's football following a 5-1 win over Kyrgyzstan. South Korea is currently second overall in the medal standings with 19 gold, 18 silver, and 30 bronze. The target is to get 50 gold, and it's not doing too badly in terms of its journey to that target. But of course, China leads the way with 74 gold medals, dominating the competition pretty much outright. Japan, though, is closely pursuing with 15 gold medals as well. So Korea is certainly going to be looking over their backs, and hopefully there's going to be more opportunities for more gold medals and silver and bronze alike. I mean, they're just as admirable. So we'll have to see what other medals Korea manages to rake up.
And during the Chuseok holidays, if you need a source of entertainment, the Asian
Right.
Games, keep it on in the background, distract those from asking you uncomfortable questions.
Exactly.
All right, on to our third keyword of the day.
Ocean probe.
So the Korean government has initiated an investigation into radiation levels in the North Pacific Ocean that's near Japan. Of course, this follows the release of treated radioactive water from the Fukushima nuclear power plant. It is the first marine radiation survey since the release. Can you tell us the details?
Yeah, so basically the government is making good on their basic pledge to kind of, do follow-up measures and inspections after the water release. The Vice Oceans Minister Park Sung-hoon said the government is or has been conducting radiation surveys in the vicinity of Japan since June, actually. And the area under investigation this time round is referred to as Area A. It's located approximately 500 to 1,000 kilometers east of the Fukushima plant. According to simulations, this area is expected to be where the contaminated water will move about 1 month after the release. We are at that kind of 1 month point in time after the discharge. Park said the survey of Area A is being held from the September 24th to October 11th. That's, as I said, it's approximately 1 month after the initial release. He added that a survey vessel has already departed to collect samples in Area A from October 1st to the 4th. He noted that in early October, the weather conditions, though, in Area A are expected to be highly volatile. It is out in the ocean, of course, and the survey activity may not proceed smoothly, so it might take longer than the projected time. And of course, in light of that, he vowed to prioritize the safety of the crew. Now, results from the 4 previous surveys conducted before the release all indicated radiation levels, of course, well below the WHO's drinking water standards. Now that the water has been discharged, we're going to get an update on what those levels will be after the release. And Park also reported that there is no significant reduction in seafood consumption trends or the seafood restaurant industry following the discharge, although there has been a lot of protests and opposition from those related industries. And he also left open the idea of changing the terminology that we've been using a lot in the news, actually. Contaminated water, there's a lot of variations for it. Treated radioactive water, for example, is another one. So there is a possibility that that terminology, or the official terminology that's used by officials, might be changed to something else. Of course, that's to prevent any unexpected harm to fishermen or those involved in the seafood industry. So basically trying not to stigmatize the terminology. And also, meanwhile, Russia actually may join China in banning Japanese seafood imports. The Russian regulator is reportedly seeking discussions with Japan regarding the matter, and Russia's food safety watchdog is also reportedly in talks with its Chinese counterparts about Japanese food exports. Additionally, Japan has requested that Japan provide information related to radiation inspections of its seafood exports by October 16th. The final decision will be made after negotiations with Japan. But it is worth noting that even if Russia does impose a ban on Japanese seafood export, the impact is widely expected to be limited.
All right, with that, move on to the economy section for our 4th keyword of the day.
Rosy outlook.
So Finance Minister Chuseok says he expects Korea's exports to rebound as early as October. Can you run us through what he said?
Yeah, so this isn't basically anything new. Chuseok has also been has always been quite optimistic when it comes to economic recovery for the country, and he forecasted that exports would turn positive by October or at the latest November. He noted that although uncertainties have been rising recently due to the likes in global crude prices and expanding volatility in the financial market, the overall recovery trend in the economy is being maintained, in his words. And he also mentioned that the semiconductor industry has positive outlooks based on current figures as well. Now, regarding the recent depreciation of the Korean won, which breached the 1351 per US dollar mark, Chu commented that it seems to be following a similar trend to major countries' exchange rates in response to the strengthening of the US dollar. So he's basically downplaying any negative impacts that might have. He added that if speculative or market anxiety-driven trends emerge without any specific factors, the authorities would take action. And he was speaking during a visit to an SK Hynix plant in Yongin. Now, Yongin is where the government plans to build the world's largest semiconductor cluster, something that we've mentioned before on this segment. And Chu also said the government will put in all efforts to support the semiconductor industry, which is, of course, is a major export item. So more exports of that would, of course, revitalize the economy, and a significant budget will be allocated to that relevant industry as well.
But I mean, not to play devil's advocate, but that's a long-term project. But we'll have to wait and see how this comes into fruition. Let's move on to our final keyword of the day.
Travis King expelled.
So after weeks of diplomacy mediated by the Swedish government, Travis King, the U.S. soldier who defected to North Korea and was expelled by the regime, is being transported to the U.S. via China's Dandong and South Korea's Osan Air Base. What's the latest?
Yeah, so it's been a very delicate diplomatic process. According to the State Department, the U.S. recently received a message from North Korea indicating their willingness to release Travis King. So there was a bit of sigh of relief that North was willing to release him. He was transported from North Korea to Dandong, as you said, early in the morning and met with Nicholas Burns, the U.S. ambassador to China there. It is estimated that he traveled from North Korea to Dandong by car. Now, from Dandong, King was transported to the Ulsan Air Base on a U.S. State Department aircraft. From there, he was transferred to the U.S. Department of Defense, so basically in U.S. custody. And King is currently in transit to the U.S. and is expected to arrive very soon. And the State Department said his mental and physical health seems to be both good. When asked about the possibility of King undergoing interrogation or receiving harsh treatment in North Korea, the State Department spokesperson said that it is believed he did undergo questioning, but that usually aligns with North Korea's past practices regarding detainees to the north.
All right. The latest update says King was reunited with his family in the U.S. and given physical and mental health support. So we'll have to wait on that account. Thank you very much, Adam, for today's coverage. We'll see you again soon.
You're very welcome. Have a great Chuseok. See you soon.
If you're listening to our program using the podcast service, just a reminder that we do go live Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. Korea Standard Time. So tune in and help us make the show more informative by giving us your input. See you bright and early on Good Morning Seoul.